Happy Monday and welcome to Casting the Net, Reeling in Holistic Health, where we care about your mental health and well being. I'm your host, Coach Rice, and I want to make sure that you tune in every Monday at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time, where I have my special guest on to talk about real issues that matter most. I want you to check us out on YouTube, Facebook Live, on Business Facebook page, also on the Be Awesome Network. Stay tuned. I think you're going to really like this next guest. Happy Monday and welcome to Casting the Net, where we care about your mental health and well being. I'm your host, Coach Rice. And with me today, I have Chonsten Jennings, and he is a speaker, a leadership and personal development coach, but most of all, he is a purpose-driven, I call him purpose-driven life coach because that's what he helped you find your purpose. So I want to make sure that I put that on there. But he's a life coach, and so let's dive into his story. So, uh, Chonston, tell us where you from and what how did you embark upon this journey as a life coach?
Yeah. Well, first, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to delve deep into my story and how I hope people rediscover their purpose. And you laying out this platform for me is beyond um, a blessing because it's always a good time to be able to speak with someone like-minded and to be able to spread empowerment. So thank you again. So I'm originally from St. Louis, Missouri. Right now, I reside in Orlando, Florida. You said Chicago, so I
Okay.
know it's blazing cold with the snow and everything out there right
Yeah, I
now.
was I was complaining about that this morning.
I saw the video. It's getting nifty out here. I'm not
Okay.
used to the snow anymore because once I was four, I moved to Orlando. So the whole reason how I became a coach is, long story short, a couple years back, I was an NBA basketball coach and a personal development coach, skill development, personal development, but I didn't really delve into the aspect of like the life stuff until later on. I was more so on the skill stuff, like them learning how to dribble, like shoot different, like the whole stuff like that. But
Oh
what I
wow.
realized, yeah, what I realized was I wasn't fulfilled in that space. I realized that I was doing a redundant pattern that became boring and I fell out of love of the process of helping other people be better basketball players. But I did enjoy the aspect of being able to connect with them on a human level, being able to help them go through performance withdrawals, or maybe they feel like they're not performing at a certain level, but then we have a conversation the next time they perform, it's a whole different level, right? But what I realized was because of the redundancy of the pattern of me waking up at 6 a.m. and then going to sleep at 11 p.m. and having to do that every day over and over again was like that hard question of, is this really it? Like, did I see myself doing this for a long time? And at the
Mm,
time, I was right out of high school. I was 19 and I was like, I know I like basketball, but do I really love it? And I think people get those two words misconstrued, especially you being in a relationship coach. It's difficult to understand if you like something versus if you love something.
that is true.
Now, liking something means that there's a ton of conditions. Loving something means there's unconditioned, which means conditions meaning you have to do this, 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 this for me to be able to deem you acceptable, right? I like you
Mm,
enough to deem you acceptable in that space. But if I love you, no matter what the situation is, I'm going to be there for you no matter what. So now, if you think about it from that perspective of working, right? There's a ton of people that are doing things that they feel like they have to do rather than what they want to do. Going back to that word, like and love. Wanting to do something means it's like a love, abundance, because you have the choice, the freedom, the
right.
autonomy to say, oh, I want to do this thing, so I'm going to go do it. I have to do something means scarcity. Scarcity meaning, oh my gosh, I'm fight or flight. Oh my goodness, if I don't do this thing, I may not eat. I may not do this. I may not have this, right? So which one is more applicable for what you say you want in your life as far as goals, the things that you want to do or what you feel like you have to do? basketball became one of those things where I felt like I had to do it. It was paying well. I was
Mm.
connecting with a lot of people. I was working with NBA guys. I was traveling around the country. I was doing all the things for some, maybe a dream job. For me, it was just another day, right? So,
Wow.
long story short, after me making the decision to stop doing basketball, you asked me this question earlier, and here it is. I said, all right, this ain't for me. So what should I do? I love connecting with people. I love networking and I love having conversations, but not just regular conversations, conversations that allows my brain to be fed and allow that person to be heard. There's a number of people in this world that don't feel like they're heard, seen, or understood. So
Yes.
it takes people like yourself and myself to say, hey, I hear you, I see you, I understand you. Now let's get through this together. But I did that for my younger self. There's this little quote that I like to say is like when we're building new things, when we're starting new things, when we're meeting new people, it's usually because we're serving our younger self with the tools necessary to be successful, but we're giving it to the other people in front of us. What does that mean?
Mm.
We're healing our younger selves through our passions, our purpose, by connecting with other people and giving those people those tools. So for me, I was using my platform, the Luminary panel. I used that platform to give myself the tools I needed when I was younger through conversation. What does I mean by that? So the Luminary panel is to connect the aspiring entrepreneur to the inspiring entrepreneur story and by becoming an immediate resource. I knew I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I had a clothing brand and drastically failed. I try to do like personal. I try to do custom clothing. I got them two, three, four X smaller than it was supposed to come out. Like I got an extra large and it came out to a large. I mean a small. And I was like, yeah, this ain't it for me. So when I would have these individuals on this conversation, in the meantime, I skipped the whole part because I'm trying to be like efficient. But in the meantime, I was sleeping in my car. I just had a baby girl. I was
Mm.
homeless, going from hotel to hotel, like shot. God put me to my most humble self to rely on him more than anything. And that gave me the sense of surrenderance. I always talk about Job. Job was my anchor verse. Romans 8:28 was another anchor verse. That all things work
Wow.
together for the good of those who love him, right? So that means all my circumstances that were happening in that moment was meant for me to understand what's going on, not just rely on what's going on. Most people are relying on their circumstances and not what was promised. And that could be a whole different conversation, right?
Right.
If people fully understand what's promised, then they can live through confidence. Does that make
Yes.
sense?
That make a lot
So,
of sense.
so once that clicked for me, I started the Luminary panel literally to listen to one story that helped the individual become who they were. It wasn't
Mm.
about how much money they made. It wasn't about what they accomplished. It wasn't about who they got a chance to connect with. It was what was your lowest point and what did you learn in that process to become who you are today?
Wow.
Right. So then through that, I started doing workshops in person. Again, this is coming from me sleeping on my car to me having a dream and understanding that this is it for me. And I'm just full forcing it and making sure I'm getting it done because I felt like I was called to it. So this is me doing in-person workshops. And then from in-person workshops, I had this situation where my friend had someone that they wanted to introduce me to. And I'm known for in our friend group, the one that has the best advice. And they see me speaking and all these things
Okay.
like that. So they're like, yeah, what should I do in this? What should I do in that? But I don't do it in a way like, oh, you should do it this, this, this. I say, why do you think you should do this? What is the answer for this? I ask them questions, thought-provoking questions to help them answer those questions that they don't necessarily ask themselves,
Right.
right? So then they get the answers that they already have, which means that the answers were already there. It just meant that you had to see it from a different perspective,
Right.
right? So my friend said, "Hey, listen, I have this guy. He's transitioning his career. He needs your help." I talked to him. I helped him go through that, whatever the case is. And then I talked to her again. I said, "You think I could be a life coach?" She's like, "Absolutely." The moment I said, I asked her that, the moment I said, "All right, let's start something." the maybe 2 weeks after I said, should I be a life coach? I got my first client, high ticket client. I was like, this is it. And now I'm in the process of building an agency for other coaches like myself that didn't know what to do. I just wanted to coach, but I need the resources. I need the back end system. I need the sales. I need the marketing. I need the all this stuff that I didn't need to focus on. I just want to now I'm providing that for other coaches, right?
Oh,
So
nice.
yeah, by January 26th, we'll be good to like full blown let it go. So that's a fast track partial story of mine, but yeah,
So that's getting to, piggying back on that. I love how you laid it out
Mm.
and
Thank you.
love your passion behind it. And you dropped a lot of good nuggets that I'm sure I'll be able to go back and get. Um,
It's always
how
fun
do
talking.
you help your clients
Yeah,
rediscover their purpose because they come into you not knowing what to do?
yeah,
And what if they have so many different things they're good at? How do you
yeah,
help them? How do you help them discover that? Because a lot of people looking for people to help them discover their purpose, right?
yeah. That's a fascinating question. I think you and I have a very similar track when it comes to our approach in coaching. And we understand that there's a source surpass our own understanding that gives us, guide us,
Mhm.
strengthen us, right? So I say rediscover intentionally because there's a verse called Jeremiah 29:11, and it says, I know the plans that I have for you to prosper you and not to harm you. So if we break down that verse, that means one, if you think about a blueprint, those are instructions for a bigger picture. And
Mhm.
usually that bigger picture is something that you had in mind, right? So if I didn't use this blueprint and I said, okay, let's build a car, right? Without instructions, without anything. I know that I want to build a car. I don't know what to go first, right? Most people think that they're supposed to have the car first before the blueprint. And that's where they get the disconnection. The
Mm,
disconnection comes down to them wanting something that they think they want, but in reality, it's not what they need. We get caught up with the things that we want, not what we need. Most people
mm.
don't face that,
That's
right?
true. That's true.
Right? So
Yes.
I'll make this full circle. So one of the biggest things I like to ask people when it comes down to when they come to me and they ask me like, "What is this?" I make them go to the lowest point where they felt like they were, I don't know what's next.
Okay.
What I make them do is I help them reevaluate and analyze the emotions that they felt around that scenario. Because if they can remember what that feels like, that means they can remember or they can recognize when good things are happening. So when we can go back into the polarity part of it, right? So like you
Mhm.
got the part where you're at your lowest and then you envision where you want to go, right? That's the
Okay.
foundation. Right now, I feel like I'm so confused. I want to be this, but I can't do this because I got this going on. Da da da. But I know I want to be at this amount of place, this amount of money, this much. Okay, cool, perfect. Now we got two places. Now we're stuck in the middle, right? Now imagine what I just did. We're thinking about our past, and we're also thinking about our future, but we miss our presence. There's a chapter in my book called "The Man in the Middle," which describes sometimes we're too far in the back, which is anxiety, fear, frustration. Too far in the future is being too anxious, being too excited, being too eager, and
Yes.
missing the point of where we are right this second, because where we are right this second has all the answers that we need for where we need to go. Plus, we can't be in two places at once because in reality, all we have is right this second.
Right.
Right now that we connect our client back to the
Mhm.
middle where we are in the present, now we start to ask those questions of Who are you? And most people say, oh, I'm a life coach. Oh, I'm a speaker. Oh, I'm an author. But they don't realize that's not who you are. That's what you do. So how difficult is it for someone to say, I want this, but I don't know who I am? That means you don't know why you want that thing.
Right.
And here's how I help them do that. If there is a version of you that you know that you're about to accomplish, that means that thing holds attributes that you have to be now rather than waiting until it comes. Because that's no such thing. If there's a version of you that's the best version of you, you've experienced those things in small wins. Maybe you used to play sports and you got a championship. Maybe you did something very nervous and you actually did very well at it or something. You've experienced the best version of yourself once or twice in your life or even more. So if that is the case, then that means those attributes that were in those best moments are still there. Then you have to just be that present and now allow the source to guide you towards the yes and the no's. Because most people don't understand the fact that if the more clear you are, the more intentional you can become.
Yes.
Right? Most people think that busy equals productivity.
Oh no, it doesn't.
It
Mm-mm.
doesn't. So if your mind is busy of like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this, and most times they're avoiding what they're supposed to do, which is this feeling that I'm feeling right now. Maybe they're living in their past and they feel like because they're living in their past, they feel their past right now, right? They
Right.
don't want to feel how upset they were before or how mad or forgotten or abandoned or beaten or hurt they were before because they still are living in their past or in the future. Oh, I'm not there yet. I haven't accomplished that yet. I feel less than. Then you're not going to win that battle unless you're here.
Right. In the
Does
present.
that make sense? In
In
the
the moment.
present, in the
Hmm.
moment. So now it's like slowing everything down, helping us get to the middle. Once we get to the middle, excuse me, getting clear on who you are and what you want and how you want to do it and not wavering from that, which is saying no. I had to
To
learn how to
certain
say
things, you
no.
have to say no
You got to say no because
if
it
it
does
don't
not,
serve you in with your purpose, right?
that's it. If it does not align with you, you have to cut it out.
And
And
that's the
that's okay.
hardest thing.
It's the hardest thing because people
Hmm.
are chronic people pleasers. I went through that.
Yep, I went through that too.
Right? In the moment we decided to say no more people pleasing, let's do what I'm told to do, is when we started seeing the abundance of what we're supposed to do.
Hmm.
Does it make sense?
It make a lot of sense. Make a
So,
lot of sense.
hopefully that answers the question because that was a lot, and
It
I had
did
to
answer
like,
my question, and it made me want to go back to the. So you was a NBA coach,
yeah,
and you decided this is not my calling.
mm-hmm,
And I remember you brought up people pleasing. How did you
mm-hmm.
feel about letting that go? Did you have turbulence within yourself? Because people be, why you let that go? That's a dream job, blah, blah, blah. How did you
Yeah,
overcome that?
yeah, that's such a great question. The moment I said no to that, I said yes to me.
Hmm.
That was my first time,
Yeah.
and being a chronic people's pleaser, which means I was performing. I wasn't my authentic self. I was doing it because I wanted some people, a group of people to see me a certain way, to be liked. And because I wanted to be liked, I thought that was earning me respect, but in reality, it was earning me disrespect. So I got tired of being disrespected and not being seen as an asset. I was reliable, I was loyal, but not seen as valuable. And because of those things, what I had to do was like, okay, CJ, this is going to be hard. Because either you do something that you're not loving anymore versus you continuously being frustrated, being annoyed, being angry, being this, being that, that's not serving you and it's keeping you in this cycle. You're doing the same thing over and over. and over
Yes.
and over again because you're saying yes to something that you don't want to say yes to. When are you going to say yes to yourself? And the moment I
Yep.
said yes to myself, I said no to that thing. But that yes equaled me being in surrenderance to who I'm supposed to become, or better yet, who I already was.
Hmm.
Right?
Because it was already you gifted in it.
It was already there. I
It
already
was
had
already there. Your
plans.
purpose is already there.
That's it. I already
Yeah.
had plans written out for me. It was just about
Right.
me coming to the plans rather than the plans coming to me.
Like
And
you
that's
said,
where
I have the plans for you.
that's it. I have the plans for you, which means
It's
like most people think that the plans are supposed to come to them. It's like, no, it's already there. Like,
already there. And so
mm,
another part I want to catch that I mean want to talk
yeah.
about a little bit. So you were homeless, but you were speaking.
Mm-hmm.
How did you get the courage to do that when you're homeless? I mean, I've never been in that situation, so I can only imagine how hard
Yeah.
it is to. I don't know if it's hard to go out and
Oh,
do that and feel validated within yourself because you have this situation over here. How did you do that?
it was probably the hardest thing I ever had to do because especially as a man, we're taught to provide. We're taught to do this. And again, I just had a baby girl. She's like one at the time. And all these things are happening. And I understood I had a goal that I wanted to like my biggest goal was like I want a Netflix deal before having an episode.
Mm,
And I said every day, I said, become the man that you said you wanted to become, which was my mantra of saying, be present with every moment, every conversation, and every situation, because this could be the turning point for you. Also, there's a ton of delusion, if I'm being honest. A ton of delusion. I had to be delusional because again, how not delusional, have faith.
I like how you said. I like the words you used to do it to actually describe it.
Yeah, it's like I have to be delusional in a sense where
Mhm.
if I was going to be stuck in my situation, I was going to be stuck in the situation. Like mentally, most people think that the physical has to be stuck. In reality, everything starts in between here. We can create all kinds of realities just by thinking. Think about this. I know you've had situations in your coaching practice where you have a client or two come in and like, oh, I thought he was cheating. Oh, I thought she was cheating. Oh, I thought this. I thought that. Right? Because they created this reality in their brain. Now,
Right.
because that reality is so real to their brain, their body starts to agree with it. And now, because that your body starts to agree with it, your external environment starts to change into that manner, even if it's not
Yes.
true.
The whole narrative is driven in that. Yes.
Exactly. So, what if we were able to do the opposite? And most people call it quote unquote manifestation, but in reality, it's just being clearly focused on what you want, becoming who you want to be now rather than later. That's
Right.
what I did. I had to adopt that mindset because I knew where I was right now wasn't going to get me there. Me
Right.
soaking in that wasn't going to get me there. And understanding that everything worked together for my good, that means even the bad is supposed to work for my good.
Right.
Maybe I'm supposed to learn or unlearn things in this situation. Maybe I'm too high up. I'm boasting in myself, too prideful. Maybe this is meant for me to rely on God because it's supposed to help me be humble. I got to be lowly, a ton of clarity, but most importantly, I had mentor and guidance. They helped me stay in
Okay.
track. They helped me become more clear. They helped me move a little bit different, dress a little bit different, speak a little bit different, walk a little different because
Okay.
they saw that's why it's so important. They saw me and my potential more than I saw myself in that moment. I thought I knew I was going to do something well, but it takes somebody seeing you 5, 10 years from now than you can see it in yourself.
That is so true.
Does it make sense?
That make a
Yeah.
lot of sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
encouragement go a long way.
Hmm.
And you do need people around you when you in a situation where you're growing to sow into that growth, not to try to pull you away from it. You really
Yeah.
need you need that encouragement. And
Yeah.
so
I'll add to that if you don't
no, go
mind.
ahead.
Especially, I'll say this: when you are in alignment, what tends to happen is people that you need in your life will come. You don't have to look for these people. These people are going to find their way to you, or God's going to connect you in that manner because you're in alignment to what He's telling you to do. You're being obedient. You're being surrenderant,
Yes.
right? So because of your yes to yourself or yes to the plan, that means your yes is going to require the right things. He's a provider, so He's going to provide the right resources for you. He shows provision. He's going to give you the right things, right? So understand, it's not rocket science. Just say yes, be in surrenderance. And when you're in surrenderance, you're opening yourself to the abundance of what's already yours.
Yes.
People miss that. So I just had to add that.
And since you added that, I want you to explain to the audience,
Okay.
how do you walk in surrenderance?
This is really good questions. It's tough. Uh, it's really hard, especially when you are considered the one that people are looking for answers to. Like it's hard when you are considered the one you're supposed to be relied on. Surrenderance is not for the weak at heart. Surrenderance means you're willing to lose whatever it takes. Surrenderance means you are being obedient to what you felt your gut say. We always say we get these gut feelings, but in reality, it's the source that you're connected to. For us is God, Jesus. The source, the Holy
Yes.
Spirit, is guiding us in the right direction. That gut feeling is us getting prompted to do those things. So understanding that instead of you going here being logistical, that means you're being spiritual. Surrenderance means you're not constantly in a ramble or you're constantly not worrying, understanding that everything is working out for my good, no matter good or bad. Meaning, whatever the outcome of this situation based off of the action I took, that means whatever that action is, it's absolute. It's true. So being okay with it coming out the way I wanted to or it not, because I know all things work together for the good,
Right.
right? So for me, surrender looks like flow. Flowing is something that most people miss because everybody has somewhere to be. I mentioned being busy versus being productive. People think that busy work is going to get them closer to a goal or a certain way of living. But in reality, busy work is just distractions.
Yes.
Everybody's busy work look different. Most people like to overeat. Some people like to overdrink. Some people like to oversmoke. Some people like to do drugs. Some people like to go on exercise walks. Some people like to just do different things to make them feel productive. But productivity means that you're clear on what you're doing. You're getting it done for the common goal of what you
Right.
already set. There's clarity in it, right?
Right.
So if that is the case, then that means if you're flowing, that means you're waking up without an agenda. Obviously, you got plans, but there's no agenda.
Right.
Like, let's say you get out of the house and you say, "Oh, I got a meeting at 12 o'clock p.m." and there's traffic. You're not upset. That means you're just like, "Dang, I tried to get up early. I tried to leave the house early. Maybe something happened. Maybe it's something preventing me from getting hurt. Somebody preventing them from getting hurt. Maybe somebody got in an accident. Like, all these things are working for my good."
That's true surrender.
That's true surrenderance.
And it's
What
not easy, like you're saying.
it's
I'm glad
it's
you mentioned that
hard.
because it is not easy.
It's hard,
Because we
but it's
want what we
also
want and we in this flow of like, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. Yeah.
so I beg to ask, when we are in that space, what are we chasing?
When we have no control anyway of what
Yeah,
events coming away. And then if he's working out for our good, it may be a reason why he may be, I always say, maybe he prevented me from having an accident, or something like that. You just never know, right? But if you
hmm,
just flow in peace, knowing that he got everything lined up already, all you have to do is say yes. You did your part, and then you just flow in his grace.
that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. But I think most people miss the fact that they feel like they have to be busy to equal productivity because they're missing who they truly are. They think being busy makes them feel seen. Being busy makes them feel heard. Then being busy is the version of them that they see on Instagram or their
Yes.
favorite
On the
influencer.
favorite TV show.
Yeah,
And so tell us about your podcast. Like, where did you get the name from?
yeah. It literally dropped in my spirit. Like, so when I was doing basketball, I had a similar concept called All of Your Business. And all I wanted to do was give smaller businesses an opportunity to have advertisement. So I have a conversation with them and then they'll show their product and show like what they do. So for example, I had someone that did waxing. I will have a conversation with them. They'll introduce themselves and then I ask a couple questions and then they'll wax my arm or something like that, right? On camera. But that didn't do well because I felt like I didn't have support. But I was so passionate about it. I loved it. But the moment I stepped away from basketball, I started to think like, I want to do that again. And I actually read this book called The School of Greatness by Lewis Howes. He was literally, ironically, in the same situation as me. He was sleeping on his aunt's couch. He went from his aunt's couch to his car. He was in the NFL. He got retired, the whole nine. And then he just picked up podcasting, having conversations. And that I was like, if he could do it, I could do it too, type of thing. It was a click. But for me to have that name, it was I don't know, it just like it just hit me. Like I really can't explain. I was literally in a car and I was like thinking about ideas and names of podcasts and it said the Luminary Panel. I was like, that's it. So then
So,
came along with a logo and it was like a light. And the funny thing is, it's like sometimes when we feel like when we are in control, we end up doing the thing that's completely opposite of what you do when you're in the movement of what you're building. Right. So originally I had the logo had three people on it. It was myself and then two other people. Two different I wanted it to be like this. Two different perspectives, two different industries, but same topic from two different perspectives. So
okay.
it'd be like, let's say you're a life coach and then I had a plumber on, right? Two different
Right.
worlds, but similar, but then there's two different like conversations happening, right?
Right. Right.
But
Right.
then I end up bringing on co-hosts. Now it's me and then one other individual um co-hosting, and then we'll bring on an entrepreneur or whatever the case is to have a conversation. And then from there, it just it went from all virtual to in person to workshops to coaching to agency.
Wow.
So yeah, that's how I came up with it.
Okay. Well, we will definitely put the podcast link in the
Yeah.
video and tell us about what do you have exciting coming up in the future?
Yeah, that's so for me, I'm super excited about a book, my first book ever, called The Proximity of Purpose. You are closer than you think. Some of the things that we're gonna be talking about is debunking the myth of arrival. Most people think that you're gonna I gotta make $1 million and then I'll arrive to this place is so unreal. Um this analogy that happened to me, this epiphany, we all have these epiphanies. It's almost like our wake up call. But mine was the fountain of purpose, is what I call it. Pretty much, there's this four level uh, uh, layer fountain that I've been guided to sit at one time, and then I was having this like brain fog of saying like I wasn't enough, and I was prompted to meditate in front of it, and I opened my eyes, and it told me that I was more than enough, like the water overflows into the ground, and that was
Mm,
extremely healing for me. And a bunch of other stuff is also doubles as an exercise workbook. So as you're reading the stories, it's going to challenge you a little bit, and then there's going to be questions that you kind of reflect
okay.
on each chapter. I am developing a speaker series where I'm traveling amongst the country, hopefully Chicago. Maybe we could do something out in Chicago.
Okay.
That'd be fun. But Austin is on the list. Georgia's on the list. North Carolina's on the list. I did LA this year. I did Tampa this year. I did Miami this year. So I plan to do a little bit bigger. Um, but those are the main two things that I'm super excited about. Oh, also the coaching agency as well is going to be really, really exciting too. So
Nice. Well, Chonston, thank you so much for coming on my podcast and sharing your wisdom with my audience. And to the audience, if you think this was something you feel like one of your friends might be in need of, someone who's looking for purpose because or rediscovering their purpose. Sometimes people don't know where to begin or where to start. I remember when I was discovering my purpose and it wasn't easy, but I ended up where I'm at now. But some people need help and it's okay. Don't suffer in silence. Don't wait. Call, reach out to Chonston so he can help you rediscover your purpose and all of the exciting things he got going on. And please do subscribe to the channel.
yeah,
A lot of people don't, they listening, but subscribe so you can get the alert when new people come on because I always have amazing people that come on and they share so many great resources with you. So please do subscribe and share. And thank you so much for coming on. And I will say to the audience, enjoy your Monday. Have a fabulous day.
It's your time to shine. Your journey to chart. Coach Rice.